Dr. Vaishon listened to their conversation and updated her logs once more. The tea outside the biodome, the political situation was growing worse by the day. Counselor Prex accessed the observation feeds from her quarters each evening, watching the humans and aliens interact. What she saw confused her. The humans were not acting like the monsters she expected, but something felt wrong. The footage she received in official council briefings did not match what she saw on the raw feeds. In the official versions, peaceful moments were cut out. The humans appeared more threatening. Small gestures were edited to look aggressive. Someone was manipulating the data. Prex tried to raise concerns with other counselors but found her messages blocked. When she attempted to present her findings to the High Arbitrator, she was told the arbitrator was unavailable. Every door closed in her face. Frustrated, she reached out to the one person who might listen, Commander Eula. They met in a secure conference room deep in the station. Prex shared what she had discovered. Eula's four hands clenched into fists as she reviewed the evidence. "Who is doing this?" Eula demanded. "I tracked the alterations," Prex said, her soft voice tight with anger. "They originate from Counselor Thon's office, but it goes deeper. I found communications between Thon and several military contractors. They are building something in secret." Eula accessed the secured files Prex had brought. What she found made her blood run cold. A weapons platform, massive and powerful, positioned in space with a direct line to Earth's solar system. The construction log showed it was nearly complete. "They are planning to strike Earth," Eula said, "with or without council approval." "They are profiting from fear," Prex replied. "The longer humans remain classified as threats, the more the consortium spends on defense. Thon and others are making fortunes from the military buildup. They need humanity to be dangerous, regardless of what the truth shows." Inside the biodome, life had settled into a comfortable routine. The humans and aliens were not just coexisting anymore. They were becoming friends. Minho taught Sisik how to play chess. The small Lemurian had a gift for strategy, winning 3 games out of 5. Taiho and Prism spent hours discussing medical advances, comparing how different species approached healing. Jaewon and Bex painted together every afternoon, creating collaborative pieces that blended human and Quellan artistic styles. Sora was learning Quellan poetry, her gift for languages allowing her to appreciate the complex rhythms and meanings. The aliens still sometimes flinched at sudden human movements. Old instincts died hard, but now they recovered quickly, knowing the humans meant no harm. They even started joking about their initial terror. "I was so frightened of you," Sisik admitted to Minho one evening. "I thought you would eat me," Minho laughed. "I am vegetarian, actually. I do not even eat meat. You are? But I saw you cooking meat that first day." "That was synthetic protein," Minho explained. "It just smelled like meat. I have not eaten actual meat in 5 years." Sisik stared at him. "You are an apex predator who chooses not to hunt?" "Humans have that choice. We can eat meat or not. Many of us choose not to." This revelation fascinated the aliens. The idea that predators could override their nature through choice and ethics seemed impossible. Yet here was proof. Dr. Vaishon received a private message late one night. It was from Eula, marked urgent and encrypted. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood. The test was a sham. The Council had already decided to classify humans as threats. The weapons platform would strike Earth within 48 hours. The humans in the biodome would be eliminated after the observation officially concluded. Dr. Vaishon felt sick. She had believed in the test. She had thought truth would prevail. But the conspiracy ran too deep. Fear and profit had corrupted the system. She made a decision that would end her career and possibly her life. She copied the message and shared it with the biodome group through a hidden channel. When the humans and aliens gathered the next morning, they learned the terrible truth together. "They are going to kill us?" Sora asked, her voice hollow. "After they destroy Earth," Dr. Vaishon confirmed. "The observation was never meant to change minds. It was meant to provide cover while they prepared the attack." Bex's tentacles curled in distress. "This is wrong. You have done nothing to deserve this." "The galaxy has done this before," Prism said, their light pulsing with anger. 11 species were destroyed out of fear. The Krell were locked away. Now humans will be added to that list. "We have to stop them," Jaewon said. He stood up, his military training evident in his posture. "We cannot let them destroy Earth." "How?" Taiho asked. "We are trapped in this biodome. Even if we break out, what can 4 humans and 5 aliens do against the entire consortium? Minho looked at Dr. Veshin. You said the data was being manipulated. What if we could get the real footage to the council? Show them the truth? The conspiracy controls the communication channels, Dr. Veshin replied. They would block any transmissions we sent. What if we did not send it? Sora suggested. What if we delivered it directly, broadcast it across the entire station where it could not be stopped? Jaewon nodded slowly. The emergency broadcast system. It overrides all normal channels. It is designed to alert the station during disasters. If we could access it, the control center is heavily secured, Dr. Veshin said. We would need to get past multiple security checkpoints. Even if we succeeded, they would send forces to stop us. C6 stood up on her small legs. Then we help you get there. We volunteered for this test because we believed in justice. That has not changed. If the consortium is going to commit genocide, we will fight to stop it. The other aliens agreed. They had lived with the humans for 2 weeks. They knew the truth. They would not stand by while their new friends were murdered. They spent the night planning. Jaewon knew security protocols from his military intelligence training. Dr. Veshin had access codes and knowledge of the station layout. The aliens each brought unique abilities. Bex's slime could dissolve electronic locks. Prism could interface with light-based computer systems. Sisik was small enough to access ventilation shafts. The other 2 aliens had skills that would help. The humans brought strength, endurance, and determination. Teho prepared medical supplies in case anyone was injured. Sora worked on a message to broadcast, something that would make the galaxy listen. Minho studied the technical systems, figuring out how to access the broadcast controls. This is incredibly dangerous, Dr. Veshin warned. If we fail, we all die. Probably painfully. If we do nothing, billions of humans die, Minho said. And your species lives with the guilt of genocide. I would rather die trying than do nothing. They rested for a few hours. At 3 a.m. station time, when guard shifts changed and security was weakest, they made their move. The biodome door was designed to keep them inside, not to stop a determined escape. Bex's slime ate through the electronic seals. Prism provided light in the darkened corridors. Sisik scouted ahead through the vents, reporting guard positions. They moved quickly through the station. When they encountered a locked door, Bex dissolved it. When they needed to access a computer terminal, Prism interfaced with it. When they had to move something heavy, the humans provided strength. When they needed to hide, the aliens found spaces too small for human pursuers. Alarms began sounding when they were halfway to the control center. Security forces mobilized. The station went into lockdown, but the group kept moving, working together with perfect coordination born from 2 weeks of learning to trust each other. They reached the control center. The door was reinforced, designed to withstand attacks. Bex went to work on it while the others prepared for what came next. They could hear heavy footsteps approaching. Security was almost on them. The door melted open. They rushed inside and sealed it behind them. The control center was full of screens and instruments. Sora began preparing the broadcast while Minho and Jaewon worked to access the system. Security forces arrived outside. They could hear weapons charging, orders being shouted. Then a familiar voice called out, "This is Commander Eula. Do not open the door. I have something to say." The group exchanged glances. Was this a trap? Dr. Veshin pressed the intercom button. "Commander," she said. "Dr. Veshin, I know what you are trying to do." Eula's voice came through, "And I am here to help. Open the door." "How do we know we can trust you?" Minho asked. "You do not," Eula replied. "But I am ordering my security forces to stand down. I have seen the same evidence you have. I know about the conspiracy. I know the weapons platform is real, and I will not allow my station to be part of genocide." Dr. Veshin looked at the others. Sisik nodded. Bex gestured agreement. The humans who had trusted the aliens with their lives made the choice to trust one more time. They opened the door. Eula stood there with a squad of security forces, but their weapons were lowered. Behind them stood Counselor Prex and several other counselors who had been investigating the conspiracy. "We want to help," Eula said. "Let us finish this together." The biodome was larger than Minho expected. It stretched across an entire section of the station, with different zones for different environmental needs. One area had Earth normal gravity and atmosphere. Another had lower gravity with gardens of purple plants. A third contained pools of blue liquid that smelled like ammonia. Crystal formations grew in a chamber filled with bright light. Minho entered with Taiho, Sora, and Jaewon. They wore simple clothes and carried nothing that could be used as a weapon. Cameras mounted on every surface tracked their movements. Somewhere beyond the dome, counselors and scientists watched their every action. The alien volunteers were already inside, huddled together in the low-gravity garden area. Minho could see 5 beings, each very different from the others. They looked terrified. "We should introduce ourselves," Sora suggested. She was the linguist, trained in first contact protocols. Slowly and carefully, they approached the garden area at a walking pace. Immediately, one of the aliens dove behind a large plant. Another made a high-pitched sound that the translator rendered as distressed crying. Only Dr. Veshin held her ground, though her skin flickered through a rainbow of colors. "Hello," Sora said gently. "We are grateful you agreed to be here. We know this is frightening for you." A small creature with white fur stepped forward. This was Sisik, the Lemurian shopkeeper. She was barely a meter tall with huge eyes that took up most of her face. Those eyes fixed on the humans with a mix of fear and determination. "We volunteered because we believe killing without evidence is wrong," Sisik said. Her voice was soft and musical. "But please understand, every instinct in our bodies tells us to run from you. You smell like predators. You move like predators. You look like predators." "We understand," Taiho said. He was the doctor, chosen, partly because his gentle manner might seem less threatening. "We will try to move slowly and speak softly. Tell us if anything we do frightens you." The days that followed were difficult for everyone. Every normal human action triggered fear responses. When Minho reached for a cup at breakfast, Sisik jumped and knocked over her own food. When Taiho laughed at something Sora said, the Quellan named Bex scrambled away, interpreting the sound as an aggression display. When Jaewon sat quietly reading, Prism the Luxon dimmed with anxiety, convinced the human was watching them like prey. The humans tried everything to seem harmless. They moved in slow motion. They spoke in whispers. They avoided direct eye contact. Nothing worked. The aliens remained terrified. On the 3rd day, Minho made a decision. He found Sora in the common area. "This is not working," Minho said. "We are trying too hard to seem non-threatening, and it is making things worse. We look like predators pretending to be harmless, which is even more frightening." "What do you suggest?" Sora asked. "We stop pretending. We act natural. We live like humans normally live. Maybe if they see we are not constantly hunting, they will start to understand." Jaewon overheard and nodded. "Agreed. This fake behavior makes us seem deceptive. Let us just be ourselves." That evening, Minho cooked dinner in the human section of the dome. He made a simple meal with vegetables and synthetic protein that approximated chicken. The smell of cooking food drifted through the habitat. The aliens gathered at the edge of the human area, watching with wide eyes. The smell of frying meat had sent them into panic at first until they realized Minho was eating, not hunting. Slowly, understanding dawned. The humans were omnivores. They needed protein. This was not preparation for violence. This was just dinner. "It smells good," Sisik said hesitantly from a safe distance, "even though it is frightening." "Would you like to try some?" Minho offered. "I can make vegetables without meat." Sisik considered this for a long time. Finally, curiosity won over fear. She approached carefully, ready to bolt at any moment. Minho prepared a plate of cooked vegetables and set it on the ground, stepping far back. Sisik darted in, grabbed the plate, and retreated to examine the food. She took a small bite. Her eyes widened. "This is delicious. You have cooking skills." Other aliens grew curious. By the end of the week, they were sharing meals regularly. The fear did not disappear, but it lessened. They learned that humans eating was not a threat display. It was just eating. Minho started exercising each morning. The first time the aliens saw him, they reacted with horror. He was doing push-ups, sit-ups, and running in place. His heart rate increased only slightly, but his body moved with a power and efficiency that terrified them. Dr. Veshin watched with her scientific instruments, taking notes. After Minho finished, she spoke carefully. "That was your maintenance routine?" she asked. "Yes. I exercise every day to stay healthy. All humans do." "You were not preparing for battle or showing dominance?" "No, just working out." This concept took time to sink in. The aliens could not imagine exercising for health. Their bodies did not work that way. But gradually they accepted it. Every morning Minho exercised. Every morning the aliens watched. After a while, they stopped fleeing. They just observed, trying to understand this strange species that pushed their bodies for no reason except to be stronger. Sora started teaching Korean words to the aliens. She had a gift for making learning fun, turning it into games. She taught them colors, numbers, greetings. The aliens enjoyed the challenge, and language became a bridge between species. Jaewon revealed that he painted in his spare time. He set up an easel in his quarters and worked on a landscape of Earth. When the aliens saw the painting, they were stunned. The idea that a predator could create beauty challenged everything they thought they knew. Bex, the Quellan artist, approached Jaewon one day. Bex looked like an octopus that could walk on land, with blue skin covered in patterns. Their body secreted a chemical that could burn through most materials. "May I paint with you?" Bex asked. Jaewon smiled. "I would like that." They painted together, sharing techniques and ideas. Despite being from different worlds with different bodies, they found common ground in art. Taeho proved invaluable when Sisik had an allergic reaction. The Lemurian had tried a new food from the station's supplies and her body rejected it violently. She collapsed, struggling to breathe. The aliens panicked, not knowing what to do. Taeho moved without thinking. He ran to Sisik, his medic training taking over. His hands moved quickly and precisely, checking her vital signs and administering treatment from the habitat's medical supplies. Sisik's breathing eased. Color returned to her fur. She looked up at Taeho with wonder in her huge eyes. "You saved me," she whispered. "Of course," Taeho said gently. "You needed help." This moment changed everything. The aliens had seen a human respond to a crisis with compassion, not aggression. Taeho's hands, which could have easily hurt Sisik, had instead healed her. His strength and speed, so frightening before, had been used to save a life. Dr. Vaishan updated her observation logs that night. Minho saw her working and asked what she was writing. "I am noting that human predatory traits appear paired with protective instincts," Dr. Vaishan said. "You have the capability to destroy, but you choose to protect instead. This is unusual. Most predator species are solitary or competitive. You cooperate and care for each other. You even care for other species. Is that enough to convince the council?" Minho asked. Dr. Vaishan's skin flickered with uncertain colors. "I do not know, but it is the truth, and I will report it honestly." The second week brought a crisis that tested everyone. A power failure caused the environmental controls to malfunction. Bex's methane pool began draining rapidly. The Quellan needed methane to breathe. In the oxygen-rich air of the dome, Bex was suffocating. The aliens froze in panic. The humans reacted immediately. Minho was closest. He sprinted across the dome toward the pool area. Bex's skin was turning pale, their tentacles weak. The pool was almost empty. The manual override controls were inside the pool chamber, where the methane concentration was toxic to humans. Minho did not hesitate. He took a deep breath and dove into the room. His eyes burned. His lungs screamed for air. He found the control panel and began working, his engineer training guiding his hands. The valves were stuck. He forced them open with strength born of desperation. Bex was unconscious when Minho reached them. He picked up the Quellan, ignoring the burning sensation as their defensive slime touched his skin. He carried Bex into the rising methane, holding them close to the vents where the gas was pumping in. By the time Jaewon and Taeho reached them, the pool was filling again. Bex was breathing. Minho's hands and arms were covered in chemical burns from Bex's slime. He was gasping for air, his lungs damaged from the methane exposure. Teho treated them both. The aliens watched in silence as the human doctor tended to Minho's wounds with practiced efficiency. "You could have died," Dr. Veshin said to Minho. "Bex would have died for certain," Minho replied through gritted teeth as Teho applied burn treatment. "I had a chance, I took it." That night, the aliens gathered in the common area without the humans present. They talked among themselves, processing what they had witnessed. "He sustained injuries that would have killed any of us," Prism said, their crystalline body pulsing with light. "He continued working until the task was complete. He saved Bex without thought for himself." "They are predators," Sisik said. "But they use their strength to protect, not to harm. I was wrong to fear them so much." The council chamber was enormous. 15 beings sat in a circle, each representing a different species in the consortium. They floated on platforms or sat in chairs designed for their unique bodies. At the center of the circle, a holographic display showed images of Earth rotating slowly in the blue light. Counselor Prex stood to speak. She was a Lemurian, covered in soft white fur with large round eyes. Her species had evolved on a peaceful garden world, where the most dangerous creature was a small bird. When she spoke, her voice was gentle but firm. "We cannot allow this species into the consortium," Prex said. "The data is clear. Humans are apex predators, every single one of them. They come from a world so hostile that we classified it as uninhabitable. If we grant them travel permits, they will spread throughout the galaxy. What happens when they grow hungry? When they grow angry? We must protect our people." Several counselors murmured agreement. A silicon-based being named Thon rose next. Its body was crystalline, reflecting light in rainbow patterns. It had no mouth, speaking through vibrations that a translator interpreted. "I propose more than protection," Thon said. "I propose prevention. Earth has minimal defenses. Their faster-than-light technology is experimental at best. We have the capability to ensure they never leave their star system. We should use it." "You are talking about extermination," a voice said. It came from Counselor Dreth, a reptilian Saurok with green scales and sharp eyes. "We cannot simply destroy a sapient species because we are afraid of them." "Why not?" Thon replied. "We have done it before." Silence fell over the chamber. No one wanted to acknowledge that truth, but everyone knew it. The consortium had ended civilizations before, always with the excuse that it was necessary for the greater good. Dr. Veshin stood in the observer section, watching the debate with growing horror. She had spent her career studying life in all its forms. The idea of destroying an entire species made her feel physically ill. She thought about Minho sitting in his cell, confused and afraid. He had done nothing wrong except be born human. She accessed the station's archive system from her personal tablet. If the council was going to make this decision, they needed all the information. She searched for records of the other 12 species classified as predator of predators. What she found made her blood run cold. The Krell were the only survivors. They had been exploring peacefully when the consortium encountered them. Before any communication could be established, before any aggression occurred, a coalition fleet had destroyed their colony ships. The Krell were forced back to their homeworld and surrounded by a military blockade that had lasted for 3,000 years. The other 11 species told similar stories. Each had been destroyed not because they attacked anyone, but because the consortium feared they might. Genocide justified by terror instead of evidence. Dr. Veshin looked up at the council, her hands shaking. These leaders were about to repeat history. They were about to murder billions of beings who had done nothing wrong. Commander Eula entered the chamber and requested permission to speak. The High Arbitrator, an ancient being made of crystallized gas, granted it. "I have a proposal," Eula said. "Before we make any permanent decisions, let us test the humans. Place them in a controlled environment with volunteers from various species. If they show aggression or predatory behavior, we will have clear evidence. If they prove peaceful, perhaps we can reconsider." "And if they are simply hiding their nature?" Counselor Prex asked. "Predators can be patient. Then we observe long enough to see their true nature," Eula replied. "But we give them a chance. Is that not what justice demands?" The debate continued for hours. Some counselors argued that any delay was dangerous. Others felt that destroying a species without proof of wrongdoing was morally indefensible. Finally, the High Arbitrator called for a vote. The measure passed by a narrow margin. Humanity would get its test. In the detention center, Minho heard footsteps approaching. The energy barrier dropped and Eula entered along with another human. Minho jumped to his feet, relief flooding through him at seeing someone from his own species. "Minho, this is Hana," Eula said. "She is your diplomatic representative." Hana was a woman in her 40s with short black hair and tired eyes. She wore a formal suit that looked out of place on the alien station. She studied Minho for a moment before speaking. "I've been negotiating with the consortium for weeks," Hana said. "Things were going well until your scan. Now everything is falling apart. The Council wants to classify all of humanity as a threat-level species. Dr. Veshin told me," Minho said. "But why? We have not hurt anyone." "It does not matter," Hana replied. "They are afraid of what we could do, not what we have done. Fear is hard to fight with logic." Eula cleared her throat. "The Council has approved a test. We will place human volunteers in a habitat with alien volunteers. If you can coexist peacefully, it may convince the Council to allow humans into the consortium." "And if the test fails?" Minho asked. No one answered, but Minho could guess. "Quarantine at best. Something worse at worst. We need 3 more human volunteers," Hana said. "I have been in contact with Earth. They are sending 3 people on the next transport. A doctor named Taiho, a linguist named Sora, and a security specialist named Jaewon. They will be here in 2 days." "Why a security specialist?" Minho asked nervously. "Because I was military intelligence before I joined the diplomatic corps," a voice said from the doorway. Jaewon entered the cell, followed by 2 others. He was tall and broad-shouldered with sharp eyes that took in everything. "I volunteered because I want to see this alien station for myself." The woman beside him smiled warmly. "I am Sora," she said. "I study languages and cultures. This is the opportunity of a lifetime, even if it is dangerous." The third person was older, with gray in his hair and gentle hands. "I am Taiho," he said. "I am a doctor. If this test is going to work, you will need someone who can keep everyone healthy." Minho felt some of his fear ease. He was not alone anymore. Over the next few hours, Eula explained the test. They would live in a biodome habitat with 5 alien volunteers. The habitat would have areas designed for each species' needs. Cameras would monitor everything. The test would last at least 2 weeks, possibly longer. "Who are the alien volunteers?" Sora asked. "Dr. Veshin has agreed to participate," Eula said. "She believes this test is important. Beyond her, we are having trouble finding volunteers. Most species are too frightened." "They are afraid of us," Taiho said quietly, "even though we have done nothing." "Yes," Eula confirmed. "I have been a soldier for 20 years. I have faced criminals, pirates, and hostile species. But standing in a room with you makes my instincts scream danger. It is not personal. It is biological. Prey species evolved to fear predators, and you are predators beyond anything the galaxy has known." Minho watched the guard rotation outside his cell. They changed every 2 hours, far faster than necessary for efficiency. He understood now. The guards could not psychologically handle being near him for longer periods. Even doing nothing, just sitting still, he terrified them. "What happens if we cannot find enough volunteers?" Jaewon asked. "Then the test cannot proceed," Eula said, "and the Council will vote again without new evidence." The implications were clear. Without the test, humanity would be condemned. Dr. Veshin appeared in the doorway, her spotted skin flickering through colors. "Commander, we have volunteers. 5 beings have agreed to participate. They are afraid, but they believe testing is better than genocide." "Who are they?" Eula asked. Sisik, a Lemurian shopkeeper. Bex, a Quellan artist. Prism, a Luxon scholar. 2 others from species the humans have not met yet. They are brave beyond measure to do this. Hana stood up straight, her diplomatic mask slipping back into place. "When does the test begin?" "Tomorrow," Eula said. "We need to prepare the habitat. The humans will be scanned again with modified equipment, then moved into the biodome. From that moment on, every action will be recorded and analyzed." She looked at each of the humans in turn. "I know you are frightened, but understand that those volunteers are more frightened. They are walking into a habitat with apex predators. Some of them do not expect to survive. They are doing this because they believe in justice even when it is terrifying." Minho felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. It was not just his life on the line anymore. It was every human on Earth. 7 billion people depending on 4 ordinary individuals to prove humanity deserved a place in the stars. "We will not let them down," Minho said. The others nodded agreement, but Minho saw the fear in their eyes. They were all scared. The aliens were scared of the humans. The humans were scared of failing. And somewhere beyond the station, Earth waited in ignorance, not knowing their entire future hung in the balance of what happened in a biodome over the next few weeks. Tomorrow, the test would begin. The white cell had no windows and no clock. Minho did not know how long he had been sitting there. Hours, maybe. His stomach growled with hunger, but no one brought food. He wondered if they were afraid to get close to him. The energy barrier suddenly flickered and disappeared. Commander Eula entered with another alien. This one was shorter, with gray skin covered in dark spots. It had large black eyes and moved with quick, nervous motions. The creature carried a tablet and several scanning devices. "This is Dr. Veshin," Eula said. "She is our chief xenobiologist. She will ask you questions." Dr. Veshin stayed near the doorway, as far from Minho as possible while still being in the cell. Her spotted skin changed colors slightly, flickering between gray and pale blue. Minho wondered if that meant something in her species. "How old are you?" Dr. Veshin asked. Her voice was soft and quick. 28 years, Minho answered. Dr. Veshin tapped notes on her tablet. "Have you received any biological enhancements? Genetic modifications? Military augmentation?" "No, nothing like that," Minho said. "I am completely natural. Just a regular human." "Regular," Dr. Veshin repeated. She made a sound that the translator could not interpret. "Tell me about your homeworld. What is Earth like?" Minho shrugged. "It is normal, I guess. We have oceans, continents, mountains. Gravity is about standard. We have one yellow sun and one moon. Nothing special." Dr. Veshin and Eula exchanged looks. The xenobiologist tapped her tablet several times before showing it to Eula. The commander's eyes widened behind her helmet. "Your world," Dr. Veshin said slowly, "is classified as a Class 12 death world." "A what?" Minho asked. "Death world," Eula repeated. "Planets rated on a scale of 1 to 12 based on how hostile they are to life. Class 1 worlds are garden planets with gentle weather, weak gravity, and few predators. Class 12 worlds are considered so dangerous that sapient life should not be able to evolve there." Minho stood up from the bench. Both Eula and Dr. Veshin stepped back quickly, hands moving toward weapons. He froze. "I am just standing," Minho said carefully. "I am not doing anything." "Please sit," Dr. Veshin said, her voice shaking. "Your sudden movements triggered defensive responses in most species." Minho sat down again, moving as slowly as he could. "You are saying Earth is deadly? How?" Dr. Veshin consulted her tablet. "Your gravity is 3 times stronger than most inhabited worlds. Your atmospheric oxygen levels would be toxic to many species. Your weather includes violent storms that can destroy buildings. Your planet has active volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. Your magnetic field exposes you to dangerous radiation. Your ecosystem is full of predators, parasites, and diseases." "That all sounds normal to me," Minho said. "That is the problem," Eula said quietly. "What is normal to you would kill most beings in the consortium within days, if not hours." Dr. Veshin approached a bit closer, though she still kept distance. "May I scan you?" "I promise it will not hurt. I need to verify the readings from the immigration scanner." Minho nodded. Dr. Veshin held up a small device. A blue light washed over him. She watched the readout, her large eyes growing even larger. Her skin flickered through several colors, gray to blue to green and back to gray. "This cannot be right," she whispered. She ran the scan again. Then a third time. "Commander, his resting heart rate is 72 beats per minute." "That sounds normal," Minho said. "For a pursuit predator, yes," Dr. Veshin said. "Most consortium species have heart rates between 20 and 40 beats per minute. Yours is racing even while sitting still. Your body is constantly ready for action." She continued reading. "Your bone density is extraordinary. Your skeletal structure could withstand impacts that would shatter most species. Your muscle fiber composition suggests you can maintain activity for extended periods. You have redundant organs, 2 kidneys, 2 lungs. If one fails, you continue functioning." "Again, that is normal," Minho said, feeling frustrated. "No," Eula said firmly, "it is not. Most beings have single organs. If they fail, the being dies. Your species built in backups. Your bodies are designed for survival in the harshest conditions." Dr. Veshin held up another scanner. This one pointed at Minho's eyes. "Your vision uses binocular focus. Both eyes face forward, overlapping their fields of view. This is a predator adaptation. It allows you to judge distance when pursuing prey. Herbivores and prey species have eyes on the sides of their heads, Eula added, to watch for predators. Your eyes are predator eyes. Minho touched his face, suddenly self-conscious about his forward-facing eyes. He had never thought about it before. What else? Dr. Veshin lowered her scanner. She looked at Eula, then back at Minho. Everything. Your immune system fights off threats that would overwhelm other species. You can consume foods that would poison most beings. Your pain tolerance is incomprehensible. You can function with injuries that would send other species into shock. We obtained Earth's medical databases, Eula said. With permission from your diplomatic corps, we ran the data through our systems. Every single human registers as an apex predator. Your elderly, your children, even your sick and injured, all would be classified as dangerous if they came through our scanners. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. You are saying every human is like this? Yes, Dr. Veshin said. We were hoping you were an anomaly, perhaps a soldier or an athlete. But you are an engineer. You work on machines. You said yourself you are average. If you are average, and all humans match your readings, then your entire species is classified as predator of predators. The room fell silent except for the soft hum of the station's systems. Minho tried to process what he was hearing. All his life he had been ordinary. Average height, average build, nothing special. But to these aliens he was a walking nightmare. I need to show you something, Minho said, to prove I am not dangerous. How? Eula asked, her hand on her weapon. Let me exercise. Let me show you that I am harmless. I will do push-ups, maybe jog in place. Just normal exercise. You will see that I'm not threatening. Dr. Veshin looked uncertain, but Eula nodded. Very well. But slowly Minho got down on the floor. Both Eula and Dr. Veshin moved to the doorway, watching carefully. He started doing push-ups, counting quietly to himself. 1, 2, 3, 4. He kept his movements smooth and controlled. Stop, Dr. Veshin said after he reached 15. Her voice was hoarse. Minho stood up. I was just getting started. I can do 100 easily. The xenobiologist was shaking. She held up her scanner, the display showing graphs and numbers Minho could not read. Commander, his heart rate barely increased. His muscle efficiency is frightening. He could continue that motion for hours without rest. One of the security guards standing outside the cell made a choking sound and stumbled away. Minho heard the sound of the guard being sick in the corridor. You were trying to show us you are harmless, Eula said, her voice tight. Instead, you demonstrated that you are suppressing your capabilities. Even your light exercise exceeds what most of us could do at our maximum effort. I do not understand, Minho said helplessly. This is normal for humans. We exercise to stay healthy. Children do this in schools. Your children train in physical combat? Dr. Veshin asked, horrified. No, they exercise. They play sports. They run and jump and... Minho stopped, seeing the fear in their eyes. Everything he described as normal childhood activities sounded like military training to these beings. The energy barrier flickered back to life, sealing the cell again. Eula and Dr. Veshin backed out of the room. I will report our findings to the council, Dr. Veshin said. But I must be honest with you, Minho. The data does not look good for your species. The council is debating whether humanity should be quarantined on Earth permanently. Or worse, Eula added quietly. What could be worse than quarantine? Minho asked. Neither of them answered. They left together, talking in low voices. Minho was alone again. He sat on the bench and stared at his hands. These hands that had fixed machines, held tools, written letters home. These hands that had never hurt anyone. But to the galaxy, they were weapons. His whole body was a weapon. Somewhere beyond his cell, people were deciding the fate of Earth, deciding if humans could join the galaxy, or if they should be locked away forever. Or worse. Minho closed his eyes and tried not to think about what worse might mean. Minho stood in line at the immigration checkpoint, his worn travel bag hanging from one shoulder. Around him, dozens of alien beings moved through the massive station hall. Some floated on anti-gravity platforms. Others walked on 4 legs, 6 legs, or slithered across the polished floor. The air smelled strange, like burnt metal mixed with flowers he had never seen before. This was Valharis 9, the largest orbital station in this sector of space. Minho was one of the first humans to travel this far from Earth. His hands felt sweaty as he gripped his documents. The paper seemed so primitive compared to the glowing data tablets the aliens carried. The being in front of him stepped away from the scanner booth. It had purple skin and 3 eyes. The immigration officer waved Minho forward with a tentacle. The officer was tall and thin, with skin that looked like blue glass. Its name tag read something Minho could not pronounce. Documentation, the officer said. Its voice came from a translator device that made everything sound flat and emotionless. Minho handed over his papers. The officer barely looked at them before pointing to a large cylindrical machine. Step into the bioscan unit. Standard procedure for all new species. Minho walked to the machine. It was made of silver metal covered in lights and symbols he did not understand. The cylinder was open on one side. He stepped inside and stood still just as the officer had instructed. The machine hummed to life. Blue light washed over Minho from head to toe. He felt a slight tingling sensation on his skin. Through the transparent walls of the scanner, he could see the officer watching a display screen. Numbers and alien text scrolled past quickly. The humming changed pitch. The blue light turned yellow, then orange. Minho frowned. This did not seem normal. The officer leaned closer to the screen, its 3 eyes widening. Suddenly, an alarm screamed through the air. The sound was so loud that Minho covered his ears. Red lights flashed everywhere. The scanner began to shake violently. Cracks appeared in the metal, spreading like spider webs across its surface. The officer stumbled backward, knocking over its chair. "Impossible," it whispered, though the translator made it loud enough for Minho to hear. Other aliens in the immigration hall turned to stare. Some began moving away quickly. A few grabbed their belongings and ran toward the exits. Minho tried to step out of the scanner, but the door had sealed shut. The display screen flashed a message in multiple languages. Minho could read the English translation at the bottom. Threat level catastrophic. Classification apex predator. Subclassification predator of predators. What does that mean? Minho shouted over the alarm. He banged on the scanner door. "Let me out." Security drones dropped from the ceiling. They were black spheres with multiple weapon ports. Red targeting lasers painted dots across Minho's chest. He raised his hands above his head, his heart pounding. The immigration officer had pressed itself against the far wall. Its body was shaking. "Do not move," it said, its voice high with fear. "Security has been alerted. Do not move or they will fire." More aliens fled the hall. Minho could hear screaming in languages he did not know. He stood perfectly still with his hands up, trying to understand what had gone wrong. The scanner was completely cracked now, smoke rising from its base. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hall. A squad of armored beings entered, weapons raised. They wore thick black armor that covered their entire bodies. The leader was taller than the rest, with 4 arms. Each arm held a different weapon, all pointed at Minho. "Open the scanner," the leader commanded. Her voice was deep and powerful, even through the translator. "Commander Eula," the immigration officer said. The bioscan registered him as, "I saw the reading." Eula interrupted. "Open it slowly." The scanner door hissed open. Minho stepped out carefully, his hand still raised. 20 weapons tracked his every movement. He had never been so scared in his life. "I did not do anything wrong," Minho said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I am just an engineer from Earth. There must be a mistake." "The Vrelian bioscanners do not make mistakes," Eula said. She moved closer but kept her distance. Minho noticed that even through her helmet he could see her eyes. They were wide with something that looked like fear. "They have processed billions of beings from thousands of species. Not once have they failed." "Then what is wrong with me?" Minho asked. Eula did not answer immediately. She looked at the broken scanner, then back at Minho. "You registered as a predator of predators. In 40,000 years of galactic civilization, only 12 species have ever received this classification. 11 of them are extinct. The 12th is locked on their home planet, never allowed to leave." Minho felt cold despite the warm air. "I am just human. I work on Earth fixing machines. I have never hurt anyone." "Your physical readings suggest otherwise," Eula said. She gestured with one of her weapons. "Your resting heart rate, blood pressure, bone density, muscle structure, sensory capabilities. Everything about your biology screams apex predator." The scanner could not handle the readings. It literally broke trying to classify you. Other security officers surrounded Minho. One brought out heavy restraints made of glowing energy. Minho did not resist as they placed the restraints on his wrists and ankles. What could he do? Fighting would only prove them right. "Where are you taking me?" he asked. "Maximum security detention," Eula said, "until we figure out what to do with you." They marched him through the station. Aliens of every shape and size scattered when they saw the security escort. Some pointed at Minho, others hid behind walls and doors. Children, at least Minho thought they were children, were pulled away by their parents. The detention center was deep in the station's core. The cell they put him in had walls made of solid energy. Everything was white and sterile. There was a bench, a sanitation unit, and nothing else. Eula stood outside the energy barrier watching him. Minho sat down on the bench and put his head in his hands. "For what it is worth," Eula said quietly, "you do not look like a monster." "I am not one," Minho replied. "Your biology says different," Eula said. She turned to leave, then stopped. "We will run more tests. If you are truly peaceful, we will know." "And if the tests show what the scanner showed?" Minho asked. Eula was silent for a long moment. "Then the consortium will decide your fate. And the fate of your species." She walked away, her heavy footsteps fading down the corridor. Minho was left alone in the white cell, wondering how a simple immigration check had turned into a nightmare. He thought about Earth so far away. He thought about his family, his friends, his normal life. The scanner had shattered on his pulse. Now everything he knew might shatter too.